you could have a comfortable seat, and it'll be the same props as usual. So a strap or something to extend your reach, and a couple blocks or books, and a blanket to make your seat more comfortable, and to offer some padding later if you like. And I'll start by reading this excerpt that I came across this week I really liked. This is by the poet Rumi, who is pretty popular in yoga circles, so you might have come across him before. And this is what he says: "This being human is a guest house. Every morning is a new arrival, a joy, a depression, a meanness. Some momentary awareness comes as an unexpected visitor. Welcome and entertain them all. Treat each guest honorably. The dark thought, the shame, the malice, meet them at the door, laughing, and invite them in. Be grateful for whoever comes, because each has been sent as a guide from beyond." I love that, because sometimes our moods are so volatile, how we feel each day, our thoughts, but it's not our responsibility to control what's there, it's just to observe. And that's what yoga teaches us, and we get better at the more that we practice. It's just being a witness. So you can close your eyes, sit up tall, and just observe what you observe this morning. And it's different every day, which makes it an adventure because you never know what to expect. Could be meted with some strong physical sensations. Maybe you're sore, maybe you feel warm or cool, fidgety. Might have sluggish digestion. Mentally, you might feel tired or alert. Your mood could be different forms. You might be happy today. You might be kind of apathetic. Notice your energy, if there's a lot of energy or a little, what the quality of that is. And then notice your breath. And this is the key, really, with yoga, focusing on our breath and guiding the breath so that the mind and the body are in better communication, better balance. So breathe in and out through your nose if you can. Invite more depth to your breath. So not the quantity so much, but the feeling of lowness in the body. So that when you breathe in, you feel the lowest lobes of your lungs fill with air, which causes your belly, your sides, even your low back to expand. And as you breathe out, you might feel your shoulders fall, your chest cave in just slightly, and everything relax and settle down. And then just wait for the desire and breathe in again. Noticing how it feels this time. There might be a pause at the top, and then enjoy your breath out. Maybe pausing at the bottom. And so the cycle goes. You just repeat this as if it was the first time each time. And when you practice this kind of observation enough, it captivates your attention so that all other distractions fade. It's like putting a spotlight on your breath. And take one more breath, just observing your natural rhythm. And then join your hands together in front of your chest. And this would signify the initiation of our physical practice. This gesture of a prayer or gratitude for everything that you experience, the invited guests and even the uninvited guests. Take a deep breath in and let it out. You can rub your palms together, create some heat. And once your hands are warm, you can cover your eyes. Feel some of that warmth. Blink your eyes open. And then relax your hands all the way back down. Namaste and good morning again. All right, so we'll begin with a few little stretches. If you need to shift in your seat, you can. And when you're ready, go ahead and tuck your chin towards your chest with an exhale. And with an inhale, lift your head up or back to center or even up towards the ceiling so your chin points towards the sky. And then exhale, tuck your chin back down, nodding your head. And inhale, lift your head back up. And just do that one more time. And noticing how it feels at the front of your throat, the back of your neck, even your tongue, your jaw, and your shoulders. And then come back to neutral with your breath in. And exhale, look over your right shoulder. Inhale, come through center, and exhale, look over your left shoulder. And just keep that going with your breath. Notice the sensation now through the side of the neck, right behind the ear, down to the collarbone, even across the front of your shoulder. Become aware if your torso wants to move with your neck and head, and maybe try to keep it a little more still. One more time. And then back to neutral, and this time tip your ear to your shoulder. Again, feeling down the side of the neck, just a different angle. Come back up and go the other way. And I find that there's a pretty big difference, at least in sensation for me, so you might notice the same thing. And this is because we're not built totally symmetrical, and we tend to have a dominant side of the body or an arm or shoulder that we favor. And through yoga, we become more aware of that and hopefully start to balance it out. Do that one more time. All right, and then come back up. Now keep your hands on your lap, take a breath in and reach your chest forward, draw your shoulders back, move your elbows behind you, and then exhale, round your spine, look down, or even at your belly button, tuck your chin, roll your shoulders forward. And again, move your chest through your shoulders, opening up into a cat shape or a cow shape, whichever you think it resembles. I still get confused between the two. And then going back and forth, again with the rhythm of your breath. So then inhale is one shape and an exhale is another shape. And feel into the front of your rib cage, the back of your rib cage, front and back of your spine. And if you're really sensitive, even notice the organs shifting in your body as you do this. Your lungs, your heart, the stomach, the kidneys, all of it's going along for the ride. Okay, back up to center, and then just take a little gentle twist. Can put one hand in front of you, one hand behind you for support. Aim your sternum, your chest, towards the side that you're turning to. Keep your shoulders broad, and then spin around the other way. So your fingertips are just there for a little extra assist. But if you were to take your fingers off the floor, you still could maintain that revolution in your rib cage. And in fact, you might even test yourself. Can you do it without the assist from your hands? And one more. And now let's come up to stand. So you can come off your blanket if you were sitting on it and just put that to the side for now. Might come back to it later. And grab a block if you have one handy. This is one of my favorite things to do with a yoga block, and that is to put it in between the thighs, right above the knees, below the groin. And it's used as a tool to imprint more of a neutral position of the legs inside the hip sockets, which makes a big difference on your lower back. So with the block, it should be flush in front of you, and the excess will stick out the back, kind of like a Pez dispenser. Squeeze the block with your inner thighs and feel how that helps to guide your tailbone and your sacrum down towards the floor, just with that action of squeezing. You can push into your feet more evenly, or at least I noticed that just with the action of hugging the block. Feel your belly muscles lift and draw back towards your spine to gain more support. And then roll your shoulders back, slide your ears on top of your shoulders, and just relax your arms. And you can close your eyes here if you like, or gaze at one point just for a few breaths, and get a sense of yourself now upright and how you relate to gravity in this position. So if this feels like an effortful pose, you might bend your knees a little bit. That can sometimes back off the effort. Or you might just need to practice this regularly. And over time, we start to align ourselves with a better posture, and the force of gravity just flows through your bones, and the muscles don't have to work very hard at all. If your eyes are closed, this is definitely a balancing posture, so you might find you're wavering a little bit back and forth or side to side. Take one more breath here, and then open your eyes if you're closed. Inhale, reach your arms out and up, and exhale, side bend to the right. So you can keep your arms wide apart. Inhale, come up. And exhale, side bend to the left. Inhale, come back up, and exhale, lower your arms down. So I'll give you two more options as we do this. One would be to grab your strap, if that's more comfortable. You can place that in between your hands. Inhale, lift your arms up, and exhale, side bend, holding the strap now, keeping it taut. Inhale, back up. And exhale to the other side. Okay, now if you wanted to take this a little further and your shoulders feel pretty open, you could do this with interlaced fingers, either pointing your index toward the ceiling or flipping your palms towards the ceiling. So you'll inhale to find yourself in a Tadasana with arms overhead, and exhale, lean to the right. Inhale, back up. Exhale, lean to the left. And then back up as you breathe in. Separate your hands or take your strap down and just fold over your legs, still holding the block between your thighs, and come into Uttanasana, or intense pose. So this could require a pretty big bend in the knees, so much so that your belly even comes in contact with your thighs, and that's okay. Hands could rest on your legs at any height or come to the floor. Could also use a chair or blocks under your hands. And tuck your chin if you can find that freedom through your neck. Maybe nod your head yes and no here. And experience the back side of your body from your heels all the way up to the hips and down the length of the spine out the crown of the head. Maybe you look back between the legs if your head is hanging. Maybe you gaze at the floor, your toes. Take one more breath. And then inhale, come up halfway. Slide your hands up your shins to your knees. Roll your shoulders back. And exhale, fold back down. Keep the weight even through the feet. So if the toes got light, shift your weight forward. Press into the feet, bend your knees. Inhale, come all the way up. Spread your arms wide. Reach towards the sky. And exhale, lower your arms down. All right, so you can keep the block if you want or set it to the side. I'm gonna keep it just because I like the sensation I get, the feedback. Inhale, lift your arms up, and we'll go through some half sun salutations. Exhale, fold forward. Hands to your shins or the floor. Drop your head. Inhale, look up halfway. Roll your shoulders back, flat spine. Exhale, bow forward. Push into your feet. Inhale, come all the way up. Engage your belly muscles for extra support. Exhale, relax your arms down by your sides. Good. And again, inhale, lift up. Wait for your exhale and then follow it forward over the legs. Drop the head. Inhale, open your chest. Look out in front of you. And then exhale, fold, and look back. Press into your feet, rise up. Strong legs, engage the abdominals. Exhale, arms down. And once more, I'm going to take my block out now. Your choice, with or without. Inhale, lift up. Exhale, fold. Inhale, halfway up. Relax your face, your neck, your jaw. Exhale and descend. Press into your feet. Imagine squeezing the block as you come back up. And bring your arms back to your sides. Okay. Now, take both of your blocks, if you have them, and we'll use them for a couple of lunges. So you could come to the top of your mat, or wherever you are in space, step your right foot forward, bring your left foot back, and then frame your front foot with your blocks. You could also have a chair seat in front of you to hold on to for balance. Okay, so your front foot points straight forward. If you have a yoga mat, the side of your foot is parallel to the long edge of your yoga mat. Bend your knee possibly to 90 degrees, or it could be a little bit wider if that's too intense for you. Knee on top of your heel, push back through your left heel, and lift your thigh away from the floor. And then you might descend through your pelvis a little bit more as you straighten your spine, roll your shoulders back, and balance lightly on your palms. Steer your right hip a little bit towards the left to neutralize the pelvis. Take one more breath. And then step your back foot in and your front foot back to switch to the other side. So bend the knee into a square, and with your bird's eye view, you should be able to very easily see all 5 of your toes. Knee is over the center of the foot. Root down through your front heel, push back through your back heel, and lift your thigh up. Then start to lower your pelvis any extra amount. And then from the stability of your legs, stretch your spine forward, maybe look out in front of you. Draw your shoulders back down away from your neck. And take one more breath. Step your back foot forward and switch again. Okay, so now you could stay low here, or you could start to rise up if you feel secure in your balance. So the test would be maybe bringing the hands to the thigh and see how you do. If that's too much, you come back down. Or you walk yourself up your front leg, bring your hands to your hips for support, and make some adjustments with your pelvis. Drop the tail, lift the frontal hip bones to find more of a neutral position through the pelvis, which might mean bending your back knee just a little bit. And then if you can, lift your back thigh, push through the heel, and stamp your front foot down to stand even taller. Take one more breath. And slowly lower back down. Switch sides again. Back foot steps in, front foot steps back. You could take the first variation, this lower version of a lunge, or start to walk up your thigh. See how you do coming up about halfway. If that's too intense, you come back down. Otherwise, hands find their way to your hips. Adjust your pelvis, bend the knee, drop the tail, lift your belly, and maybe push back through the heel and fluff your back thigh up. Find more elongation, extension through your spine. And breathe here. One more breath. Slowly lower down, step your back foot in, bend both of your knees, and come all the way up. Okay, shake that out for a minute. You won't need the blocks for the next one. We'll go into Warrior 2 or Virabhadrasana B. So take your legs wide apart and then turn your right toes out so the knee is pointing towards the short edge of your mat if you're using a mat. Bend your knee into a square like you did for your lunge. Angle your back foot in slightly and care that your heel could bisect your back arch. Okay? So the feet are firmly planted. Get low through your hips. Feel the muscles have to tighten and engage for support. Stretch your arms out. Take a breath in. And exhale, just turn your head to gaze over your right middle finger. And then now imagine you could rest your hands on two shelves beside you. Try to relax your shoulders. If this knee starts to wander inward towards your big toe, can you guide it back out? Feel what you feel and notice what you notice physically, mentally, emotionally. Do you like the pose? Do you dislike it? Take one more breath. All right, bring your hands to your hips and switch sides with your legs. So just pivot your feet, bend your left knee now into a square or ish. Turn your back foot in, heel to arch alignment. Hands could even stay at your hips if having the arms out is too intense. This time, bring your arms out and turn your palms up. So you have an external rotation through your arms and shoulders. It's a little more restful for the arms, and you get an opening across your chest and upper back. Now you can imagine you are pushing your hands up to hold a shelf without actually moving them, and feel how that engages the muscles in your arms more. Maybe turn your head to look over your middle finger. And while you're gazing, can you play tug of war with both arms so that you don't feel pulled excessively in one direction, but you're balanced? Take one more breath. Lower the arms, heel toe your feet back in. Okay, and now come back into a lunge. You could use your blocks again. Step your right foot forward, left foot back. This time we'll add a twist. So with your hands on the blocks or on a chair, let's keep the left hand down, bring the right hand to the pelvis, and start to push your left hand into the floor to spin and turn your chest to the right. So if that was too quick of an entrance, right foot is forward, left foot is back, push back through the heel, lift your thigh, lower the pelvis, and then start to roll your chest open. You could gaze down at the floor for balance. And if you would like, spread the right arm up towards the ceiling to open across the right side of your chest all the way through your palm. One more breath here. And then slowly lower your right hand. Find some core support, step your back foot in, front foot back, and we'll switch sides. So left knee in a square, back leg straight and strong. Weight goes into the right palm, push it down into the floor. Left hand to your hip, spin your chest open to the left. Either stay here, find as much length through your spine as possible, or lift your left arm up, spread your fingers. Keep stamping down through your front heel. And take one more breath to roll and open your chest. Bring the hand back down, step your back foot in, bend your knees, and slowly come up. Good. All right, let's do another pose, which you may or may not need the blocks for, triangle pose or Trikonasana. So legs go wide apart again. Right foot turns out like we were just doing for Warrior Two, only this time you might not need as big of a bend in that thigh or knee. Take your hands to your hips, lift yourself up, and then spread your arms wide, finding those imaginary shelves to rest your hands on. Wait for your exhale and then lean forward so the tug of war is now winning to the right. Bring your hand to your shin or a block on the inside or outside of your foot, whatever feels better. This could also be a chair seat. If you are noticing your torso is collapsing forward, bend your knee, roll your chest back, and root the weight into the outer edge of your back foot. If it's safe and appropriate, that top arm lifts up. And then just breathe, space, light, awareness into the sides of your torso. Feel the back of your body, the front of your body extending forward at the same rate. Take one more breath. And then push down into your feet, slowly come up and switch sides. So pivot on your feet now. Okay, aligning, heel to arch. Soft bend in the knee if you need it. If you used a block on the first side, you might go ahead and prep your block on this side. Hands come to the hips, lift your chest up, and then spread your arms. This time you could enter with your palms up if you like. Wait for your exhale, reach forward like you are being pulled, and then lower your hand down to the shin or to the block. Maybe your other hand finds the hip. Could even come to the shoulder, or it lifts up towards the ceiling. And then do not sacrifice the length of your spine for the stretch in the legs. So you can always bend this knee deeper, and that'll give you more freedom to open your torso. Roll your top shoulder back so eventually they stack. Find one point to gaze at. Breathing your breath and your attention 360 degrees around you. And just feel what you feel. When you're ready, push down into your feet. Inhale, come all the way back up. Okay, now a forward bend. So blocks go in front of you, feet wide apart, and this is Prasarita Padottanasana, or expanded leg stretch or intense stretch. Bring your hands to your hips, inhale, lift up, and exhale, start to hinge forward, bending your knees to loosen the tension on the backs of the legs and free up your lumbar spine. Hands can find your blocks underneath your shoulders and your chest, or they can come to a floor if that's more comfortable. So you could very well stay up halfway here with a flat back, or you might have more flexibility and find that you're able to bow forward. If you can bow forward, bend your elbows back towards your thighs or between your thighs rather than out. Notice the weight in your feet. If you're heel heavy, can you rock towards the balls of your feet just a little bit more? And then even picture that block in between your upper thighs and hug a little bit to find more stability. Take one more breath. And then push into your feet, lift yourself up halfway. Pause. Wait for your next inhale, bend your knees, come all the way back up. Hands can come to your hips. Tuck your chin, look down at the floor, and just let it all recalibrate. When you're ready, you can heel toe your feet back in. Move the blocks out of the way. And we'll do a couple of balancing poses. So tree pose or Vrksasana. You could do this with a chair next to you and hold on to it for balance. You could even use a wall and stand to the side of a wall. Okay, or you could do it free form in the middle of the room. Shift your weight into your right foot. Bring your left foot to your right ankle, your shin, or above the knee to the inner thigh. And this is largely dependent on the flexibility of your hips, so don't get too attached to where your foot lands. Just go wherever you can balance. And then press your foot and your leg wherever they meet into one another like you were squeezing that block. Hands can come to rest on your hips. They could go into a prayer position, and it's a nice reminder of being grateful for whatever it is that you're experiencing. You could also branch your arms out if you want to test your balance. Gaze at one point, perhaps a few feet in front of you on the floor. And yogis will say, when the gaze is steady, the mind is steady. And we experience better balance, better harmony. Take one more breath. And then slowly lower your hands down if they were elevated. Step out of the pose, shake it if you need to. It's a strengthener for the feet and the ankles. So if they got tired, that's normal. You just might have to stretch it out or shake it out. And then go to the other side. So left foot plants down evenly and firmly. Right foot now comes to the ankle, shin, or above the knee. You might even find you have to hold it in place if this is a newer expression of the pose for you. But push your foot and your leg into one another. That's kind of the key to this pose to find balance. And then either hold the sides of your pelvis, join your hands together at your heart, or maybe even lift them up above you. Find one point to gaze at. And experience the pose. Notice what you like about it. Notice what you dislike about it. Each pose has something to offer and to teach us. Take one more breath. If you're wobbly, that's okay. That's just part of the process. And then slowly step down. Shake it out if you need to again. Okay. And now we'll do one more balancing pose. This one is more to help tone the abdominals. So hands come to the hips. You can imagine like we were standing earlier with the block between your thighs. So there's a little squeeze and an internal rotation of the legs to neutralize the pelvis and free up the lower back. Now shift the weight into your right foot. Start to lighten the load in your left foot, so much so that it might even hover off the ground. And you're just holding the weight of that leg with the strength of your abdominal muscles. This could be enough, or you might extend that leg out in front of you, straightening the knee, pushing through your heel and drawing your toes back. So it looks something like this from the side. This could be at any angle. We're just going for a straight expression of the leg. The higher you go, the more the front of the thigh has to work and the abdominals have to work. Take one more breath and slowly lower down. Okay, change sides. So stand on your left foot, shift the weight, lighten the load in your right foot, hover off the floor. And you could also use a chair or a wall to help support you with your balance. Either stay here or start to straighten your leg. Maybe the foot angles towards the floor. Maybe it angles towards a wall in front of you. And the higher you go, you will start to feel your quadriceps screaming at you. And then it's that practice of inviting in whatever guests arrive, even the burning, fiery ones. Take one more breath and slowly lower it down. Good. It's better to laugh than to cry. All right, let's come all the way down to the floor. And if you have access to your blanket, you could grab that and place it underneath your bottom. Actually, I'm going to turn to the side. And you might even like to have your strap handy. All right, take your right leg out in front of you and fold your left foot in like tree pose, either to your ankle, shin, or thigh height. So I don't know if that can be seen quite well on the computer screen, but it's just like we did with tree pose, where the foot slides up the leg, and this could be anywhere on the leg. Okay, and you'll find there's varying degrees of hip stretches depending on where it stops. This could be your pose. You might support yourself with your hands, or you could even take your strap, loop it around the ball of your foot. Both ends go in your hands, one on each side. Lift up through your chest, breathe in, and exhale. Maybe start to lean forward, deepening your hip crease to reach the crown of your head or your chest towards your toes. And this is Janu Sirsasana. Janu is your knee, Sirsha is your head. We're bringing those 2 points closer together. And this is a great multi-purpose pose if you want to do some yoga but are short on time. So you get a hamstring stretch through your straight leg, a hip stretch through the bent leg, and a back stretch as you lean forward. There's even a tiny bit of a twist through your torso. Take one more breath. And slowly come back up, unleash the strap, and change sides. So left leg extends forward, right foot comes to rest anywhere on the leg. Should say if you're doing this in a chair, you could cross your ankle on top of your knee, so it's similar to a figure 4 shape. If you use the strap on the first side and like that, you could loop it around the ball of your foot on this side. Hold both ends, relax your shoulders, and maybe just sit up tall here. If you prefer, and you have access, you can lean forward. And the pose doesn't always have to be about seeking the greatest sensation. Sometimes we get so attached to that we prioritize the stretch over the whole health of our body. So go for an overall feeling of well-being. Take one more breath here. Slowly come up. You can put your strap off to the side. And let's do one more seated pose here. Upavista Konasana, or wide angle pose. So this is just spreading the legs out. If you're on a chair, come to the edge of your chair. You might need to bend your knees to make this more comfortable for the hamstrings in your back. If you're on the floor, blanket under your hips is very helpful to turn your pelvis forward and lift up through your spine. Now this could be your pose, hands behind you for support, and you just sit up tall with your legs open. You might feel this originating from the inner heel all the way up through the inner thighs and groin. If you have a little more flexibility and would like to turn up the dial, so to speak, lean forward and the hands can walk out in front of you or down the legs towards the feet. Long spine. With every breath in, find more extension. With every breath out, relax your shoulders, your jaw, your face, down into your hips. Take one more breath here. Slowly walk yourself back up. Okay, and come onto your back. You don't need a blanket anymore, unless you will later for Savasana. Okay. So help yourself down. And if you're in a chair, just sit up nice and tall. Bring your arms beside you if you're on your back, and walk your feet in, just to give yourself enough support to rest for a beat or two. Just get oriented to this position. And then when you're ready, lift your feet off the floor and park your knees on top of your pelvis. Engage your belly muscles and press them down towards the floor. So you feel a tightening and a firming down and in with the belly muscles. You could stay right here, squeeze your thighs together like you had a block. Could even use a block if that's helpful. Or start to drop your toes down to the floor and tap. And then lift them back up until the knees park on top of the hips again. And it's as simple as that. We're just dipping the toes down to touch the floor and lifting them back up. Now, if this causes any pain in your lower back, do this one at a time. 1 foot at a time. And you could do this seated as well, lifting the knee up and then tapping the foot back down to the floor. Notice what you notice, feel what you feel. Could be some strong sensations bubbling up, especially around the lower belly. Let's do 1 or 2 more, either 1 foot at a time or both. And then draw the knees towards you. If you're in a chair, you'll have to do this one leg at a time, most likely. And circle the thighs around. Just massage the lower back. Relax your belly. And then go the other way. All right, now you could do that once more, tapping the feet down, okay? Or if you want to make this more intense, you can straighten the right leg all the way out to the floor, lift your left leg towards the ceiling, so you have a 90-degree angle between the legs, and slowly lower your left leg, either halfway, maybe 3/4 of the way, or all the way down to the floor to meet the right. Possibly hover before you get there, and then lift it back up. Okay, and then you can switch sides. Lower the left leg, maybe the right leg comes all the way up, or wherever you can. Slowly lower it down, still engaging the same muscles with bent knees. Finding an angle that challenges you to build more strength in your lower belly. You can hover and then lift the leg back up. And just do that a couple more times on each side, or continue with those toe taps. And this kind of strengthening is a great way to build support around the torso, and especially the back, the lumbar spine. The slower you go, the harder it is, but I find it to be more effective. You don't have to do as many. Focus on the muscles that are engaging or contracting, or that feel warm. Just a few more seconds, or if you're doing the single legs, one more time. And then again, bend your knees, draw them in towards your belly, and give yourself a massage. Roll the knees around in a circle. And feel the sacrum circling around with the knees as well. Go the other direction. All right, and then let's do one more pose here in this position, bridge pose. So you can take your feet flat to the floor now. Reach your arms down beside you and see if your fingertips can graze the backs of your heels. Arms press into the ground, palms flat. If you're in a chair, this one is kind of difficult to simulate, so I would just skip it for now because I don't have a chair to demonstrate. Press into your feet, push into the backs of your arms, lift your hips up, maybe an inch, maybe a few inches. Maybe you start to elevate the pelvis so much so that you can't see your knees anymore. Doesn't really matter how high they go. And then slowly lower the pelvis all the way back down. And we'll just do that a couple more times. Press into the feet, hands, and shoulders. Inhale, lift your hips up. Rolling through the vertebrae. Keeping the natural curve in your neck. Don't turn your head. And slowly lower back down. This is like a stretch for the belly muscles. One more time. Pause at the very top, stamp your heels down. Either try to push your feet forward slightly or pull them back to engage the undersides of your legs. Take one more breath. And release your hips all the way back down. Take your right knee into your chest, stretch your left leg long, and just hug the weight of that folded right leg close to the side of your ribs. This is good compression for the digestive tract. You can stay here, or if you'd like to take this into a twist, cross your right knee over the body. Maybe the foot rests on your left inner thigh, or it comes over to the outside of your thigh. Your right arm may like to wing out in line with your shoulder. Left hand could rest on the outside of your left thigh. If you're sitting in a chair, just turn your upper body to the right. Maybe hold on to the armrest or the back of the chair. Relax your head. Relax your right shoulder. Slowly come back up. Give your right leg a squeeze and switch sides. Left knee comes in, right leg goes all the way out. Hug your left thigh close to your left ribs. Now compressing your descending colon. And take one more breath. You can stay here or transition into a twist. Cross your knee over to the right, wing your left arm out in line with your shoulder. Bring your right hand to the outside of your left leg. And just make yourself comfortable. Twists are neutralizing and decompressing to the spine. So you don't have to effort so much in this pose. Take one more breath here. And slowly roll onto your back. Give your leg one more hug. And then help yourself into Savasana. So this could be with or without props if you like. Could place a blanket underneath your knees, maybe in a roll, especially if you have any kind of lower back aching. Could also place a folded blanket under your head. Or if you're sitting in a chair, scooch towards the backrest and allow your spine to be supported. Flop your feet out, turn your palms up. Relax the weight of your skull, relax your shoulders. Relax your elbows, your wrists. Your neck, upper back, middle back, lower back. Relax down into the pelvis, both legs, both knees, both ankles. Relax your feet, your heels, and all of your toes. Close your eyes and feel your eyeballs sinking deeper into their sockets. Rest your tongue behind your bottom teeth. And maybe even swallow to clear your throat. And Savasana means corpse pose. And it is one of the more difficult asanas to master. We practice the art of letting go or the art of dying. Let go of all of your effort. Even let go of the memory of the practice. All of the poses, all of the breathing. And just feel the weight of your body imprinting into the floor or chair or whatever surface you're resting on. Even let go of effort in your breathing. As your body relaxes, your mind stays alert and observant. Before we come back to sit, I'll just read part of the passage that I read at the beginning of class. And this is by Rumi, and he's talking about our thoughts as guests. He says, "Welcome and entertain them all. Treat each guest honorably. The dark thought, the shame, the malice. Meet them at the door laughing and invite them in. Be grateful for whoever comes because each has been sent as a guide from beyond." You can start to wiggle your fingers and your toes and gently turn your head from side to side, just bringing your body back to life, back to some movement. Deepen your breath, and when you're ready, slowly press yourself up to a seat. Use your arms for support. Let your head come up very last. And then once you're seated comfortably, join your hands together in front of your chest. Taking a moment of gratitude for you, for your practice, for this time, for whatever you're experiencing. Breathe in deeply and let it out your mouth. Rub your hands together, warm yourself. And then place your warm hands over your eyes. Blink your eyes open and take your hands back down. Namaste. Thank you for practicing with me.